Okay, I can't believe I have to say this, but considering we're living in more of a hell world each and every day, I gotta put this disclaimer up first. Even though I'm talking about a kid's show, my channel is for adults. I aim my content towards mature audiences. So, this channel is not for kids. I fucking hate the fuck clown world we live in this stuff. Fuck!
As a teen, I could never like Zoey too much. She reminded of the girls in high school who thought they were better than everyone else and refused to associate with anyone they deemed abnormal.
Rewatching this show and realized how annoying Zoey was, and learning that she bullied Alexa makes me hate her even more. I always hated her demeanor. She was always annoyed or irritated, never positive and happy. She also liked to boss people around and got mad when she didn't get her way.
I never liked Zoey because she reminded me of the popular girl in my grade who just bossed people around and made it seem like the whole world revolved around her. Girl was also a bully. Well, I never thought I'd have to touch a Dan Schneider show ever again in my life, but here we are!
Are you ready?
Ooh, I know you see me standing here. Do I look good, my dear? Do I look good today? Yeah, yeah. If you wanna play, come and play today. Let's just get away. Yeah, I will make you see all of the things that you can be. Believe in yourself and follow me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey guys, it's Flowergothic, and today we're going to talk about Zoey 101. Or, well, to be specific, we're going to talk about Zoey 101 herself. The one, the only, Zoey Brooks. Many people say that Zoey Brooks is not a good person, to say the least. There are compilations and comments out there claiming she's selfish, annoying, petty, even an asshole. Some people even accuse her of being a Mary Sue, of being too perfect and good at everything she does. Now, before I continue, you might be saying, hey Flower, considering the incident, I thought you would rather die than cover another Nickelodeon show. And you're correct! If you asked me before if I would ever make a video on another Nickelodeon show, I would have beaten the shit out of you. So what changed? Well, my best friend Roxanne, who beta reads most of my scripts, started re-watching Zoey 101. She went on and on and on about the shift in quality between seasons. She also told me how she disagreed with the consensus that Zoey was not a good person. She wanted to watch it with me. I hesitated at first, obviously, but then she told me this. I heard the best way to get over trauma is straight through. So I was in. We roped our mutual friend Albert, who has also appeared on this channel, into the watch party, and away we went. And you know what I found out? Roxanne was absolutely right. Zoey Brooks is not a terrible person. Quite the opposite, in fact. On top of that, most if not all instances of Zoey being a bitch or an asshole can be justified. And there aren't nearly as many as you would think. So today, let's talk about Zoey Brooks. Let's break down why the internet's criticism of Zoey is not only misguided, but also rooted in unrealistic expectations, including internalized misogyny. Let's look at specific episodes, scenes, and character interactions to show how Zoey is just a well-meaning teen navigating her way through some chaotic situations. But first, for those new here, I have this section at the start of all of my videos, partly for legal reasons and partly to clarify my creatorial intent. I'll start with the disclaimer. We will not be talking about any of the controversies surrounding the show or its creator, for the most part. I'm more than aware of everything Dan Schneider has done. I know about the shit Nickelodeon's actors had to go through, including the actress who played Nicole in Zoey 101. We will get to that. But we're not here to talk about the history of the show or even the show as a whole. We're here to talk about Zoey Brooks. If you want to learn more about the controversies surrounding these shows, I recommend the docuseries Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. I also recommend Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. Now, here are today's rules. 1. This is an opinion piece. This is my opinion about a show, or at least its main characters. It might not align with your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. 2. However, any comments attacking me or others will be deleted and reported. Please, please, please behave yourselves. And 3, as always, do not harass anyone I mention in this video. And now, on with the show!
So what brings you to therapy today, Miss Gothic?
I guess I just want to reflect on my work this past year. I'm finally working on my Zoey 101 video again. It's been on the back burner for over a year now, I think.
What was that? Lack of motivation?
No. It was too much motivation, if anything. While I was watching Zoey 101, I was learning more and more about Kelly Piquet and all the terrible things she did. I was working on both projects simultaneously for a while, planning to drop them concurrently.
And why are you coming back to it now?
The Kelly video got bigger. I learned about more controversies, I got contacts, and a lot more people were waiting on me to release the Max and Kelly expose. I didn't have the time to do the Zoey 101 video anymore. I guess because I don't just want to be one thing. I don't want to be known only for the Max and Kelly video. And also, I guess I relate to Zoey now more than I did before. People look at you a certain way. They decide what your story is before you have a chance to speak for yourself. I'm sure most people here are at least aware of what Zoey 101 is, but here's a quick summary for those not in the know. Zoey 101 is a Nickelodeon sitcom drama that aired from 2005 to 2008. It focuses on Zoey Brooks, one of the new students at the elite boarding school Pacific Coast Academy, or PCA for short, which has only just started admitting girls. It doesn't take long for Zoey to become a central figure at the school. She forms close friendships, she has crushes and relationships, she navigates the ups and downs of teenage life in a glamorous Southern California boarding school. Zoey doesn't navigate this brave new world alone though. She has a slew of quirky characters to experience it with her. There's hot-blooded athlete Dana Cruz, there's boy-crazy Pollyanna Nicole Bristow, there's Lola Martinez, who started life as a slightly edgy, aspiring actress, but essentially became Nicole after the latter left after season 2. And there's Quinn, the child genius whose characterization weirdly matches my own adolescence. Of course, she also gains the attention of some boys. Who are they? Dorky yet lovable? Chase Matthews, cocky rich kid Logan Reese, and the fun-loving Michael Barrett. She even has a slow burn relationship with Chase that only becomes official in the series finale. What made Zoey 101 stand out, aside from the California dreamscape and the iconic theme song, was its tone. It was less slapstick than other Dan Schneider shows, with no laugh track and a bigger emphasis on the drama. It still had its fair share of Schneiderisms, speed jokes, incompetent adults, one token butt monkey, but they were toned down. In fact, it might be the most emotionally grounded of the bunch. So in a way, it's the best of Schneider's 2000s kidcoms. But this video isn't necessarily about the show. It's about the girl. And to talk about the girl, we also need to talk about her actress, Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn Spears was born April 4th, 1991. She's the younger sister of pop icon and 2000s tabloid target Britney Spears by roughly 10 years. In fact, she made her acting debut playing a younger version of Britney's character in the 2002 film Crossroads. Jamie Lynn quickly rose to fame after that debut. She got the attention of Nickelodeon and got cast on its revival of All That. After all of that, she landed the lead role in Zoey 101, and her popularity exploded. She was positioned as the prototypical good girl of the era, especially as she thrived amidst her older sister's struggles. Hell, people were excited for her post-Zoey career. Hollywood was ready to help her transition from teen icon to leading lady. She even auditioned for Twilight. No, seriously. She later even admitted she didn't want to do it. She was dragged there by her agent or manager or something. But it all came tumbling down in December of 2007, just as Zoey 101 was wrapping up its penultimate season. In an interview with Tabloid magazine, Spears announced that she was pregnant at the age of 16. This was polarizing. She was supposed to be the opposite of her big sister. She was supposed to be the good girl, and now you're telling me she's going to be a teen mom? People petitioned Nickelodeon to cancel the show, calling Jamie Lynn a bad influence on their children. But contrary to popular belief, the show was not canceled because of the pregnancy. Filming had already wrapped long before the announcement. Nickelodeon decided to stick by her. Maybe they were contractually obligated to run it. Maybe they genuinely wanted to give the show a proper send-off. Maybe they noticed the first episode to air post-pregnancy reveal pulled in more than double the usual views. Or maybe they didn't feel like canceling their most expensive production to date. Who's to say? After the show, Jamie Lynn disappeared from the spotlight for over a decade, choosing to focus on her baby. To this day, Zoey 101 remains her only work of note. Well, unless you're one of the 5 people who have heard of Sweet Magnolias. In this absence of other work, as controversy surrounding Schneider's shows rose and Jamie Lynn's on-set behavior was revealed, the public took their feelings out on Zoey Brooks, and people grew to hate her. I talked a bit about this in the introduction, but I want to take some time to expand on it because man, the internet has its opinions on Zoey. People who don't like Zoey say they don't like her for a variety of reasons, but I think you can boil it down to the following 3. Reason 1. Zoey is bland. We don't know much about her. She's too perfect. She's popular, but why? She has no personality. The other characters are way more interesting. This is one of the default takes for a lot of quote-unquote escapist works. And yes, I'm counting Zoey 101 as an escapist work, because who wouldn't want to go to a boarding school in sunny Malibu? Let's compare Zoey to other female leads in 2000 shows. She doesn't have the cool aloofness of Alex Russo or the quirky inner monologue of Lizzie McGuire or the bookish charm of Rory Gilmore. Zoey is certainly more grounded than all 3, serving as the rational center of her eccentric classmates. But I'd argue that works to her advantage. Zoey being the more rational character allows her own personality to stand out. We see her take the initiative in group settings, we see her support her peers when they face their own struggles, and we see her navigate the complexities of being a teen while maintaining her sense of self. But is she relatable? That brings us to reason number 2. Zoey is too perfect of a character to be likable. She's good at too many things. She's smart and pretty and has boys fall over their feet for her. She doesn't experience any conflicts. She's such a Mary Sue! Ah yes, the classic Mary Sue argument. Any female character who dares to be good at things is perfect and unlikable. How fucking original. Yes, Zoey has talents. She's good at fashion design. She's naturally athletic and she makes good grades, but she also fails at things. There are episodes dedicated to her learning to be better at something. There are also episodes showing that she is not good in something. But no, any girl who has it all together is unrelatable. That says more about the world's discomfort with girls utilizing their full potential than Zoey herself. Fuck you. And let me tell you, if Zoey was a male lead, he would have been praised for being multi-talented and a good role model. But whenever it's a girl, it's a fucking character flaw. Speaking of, reason 3. Zoey is actually a bitch. She is annoying and selfish. She puts herself first and is mad at people for no reason sometimes. She has done so many bad things in the show. It's surprising she's not criticized for it more. Oh, for the love of God. She's assertive. She's confident. She stands up for herself and her friends. Again, if a male character had these traits, the public would consider him a role model. When you call Zoey a bitch, you're referring to the times she's being assertive, or you're muddying the character with the actions of Jamie Lynn Spears. But Jamie Lynn Spears is not Zoey Brooks, and mixing the two is lazy media analysis. All you're saying by claiming Zoey's a bitch is, I don't like Jamie Lynn Spears as a person. Jamie Lynn Spears has said and done some controversial things. We will get to that! But again, she's not her character. And yes, Zoey is flawed sometimes, but guess what? So are the quirky side characters. Lola is dramatic, Quinn is unhinged, Logan is an arrogant billionaire who will not be spared in the revolution, and Chase is certainly one of the people of all time. Zoey is a teenage girl navigating a chaotic social ecosystem. Sometimes she gets it wrong, but that's not being a bitch, that's just growing up. But the best way to show you what I mean is to give y'all some examples. So let me go over some of the episodes that show Zoey's nuances.
How do you feel about the project, about Zoey, now that you're returning to it?
Weird, but like good weird. There are things I've only now noticed post Max and Kelly, like, do you want to know something funny? People don't really talk about Zoey the character anymore. It's all about Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn, the teen mom. Jamie Lynn, the sister of Brittany. And it makes sense since that's the only thing she's really known for. But the thing is, I feel like that too sometimes.
Oh? What do you mean by that?
I mean, that no matter what I do, no matter what videos I make, I'll always be expose girl, the crazy girl who went after Max Verstappen's groomer, the one that got dragged and doxxed by Kelly Piquet stans, the one who showed the world the receipts, then got called a nutcase for making something 6 hours long. Fucking needed those 6 hours, man.
You sound like you've been down this road before.
People never want the full story. They want the punchline. They don't want complexity or strategy or grief or passion. They want a headline they can feel superior to. They want something to point and laugh at. I have. I've been pigeonholed before. I've been called crazy before, even when I shared the truth. Hell, considering the incident, some of those people might be in my comments now, screaming at me for telling them their favorite people are problematic. But history is written by the winners, by the powerful. It's so easy for a narrative to get out of hand. But I've made my peace with that.
Do you want to explain further?
Maybe later.
What do you want people to see when they look at you?
I want them to see I'm still here. That no matter what people fling at me, that I won't burn out or back down or disappear. That the fire in my eyes will never fade. That I don't shrink myself just so they can be comfortable. I don't want them to just see nothing at all. I don't want them just to see me as the crazy girl. I want them to see the full story. I want them to see all of me. So let's deconstruct the Zoey criticisms using actual moments from the show. We will be going in airing order, not production order. This because the copy of the show I obtained lists the episodes in the former. Anyway, the basic plot. Zoey and the other girls are introduced to a long-standing tradition. What tradition? Prank Week, of course! The boys target the girls with practical jokes. But after one particularly humiliating prank, Zoey decides to fight back! The episode starts with a shock, quite literally, as Zoey and Dana wake up to find Nicole missing. Where could she be?
Nicole, what are you
doing? I had a bad dream in the middle of the night, and usually when I have a bad dream, I crawl into bed with my mom, but she's back home in Kansas. Did I scare you?
Oh no, I always wake up with a scream and a quick heart attack.
Okay, before anyone claims this is a prime example of Zoey being bitchy, hear me out. Her freaking out here is entirely justified. We're only on season 1, episode 5. Zoey doesn't know either girl well enough to feel comfortable with them sharing a bed with her. If I was Zoey's age and back in summer camp, I'd be freaked out too to find someone I barely know sleeping next to me. But there's no time for that. The boys TP'd the girls' door. The girls are pissed. Quinn says something that I probably would have said in this exact situation at 12 or 13.
Hunt them down and surgically remove their kidneys.
Quinn really is just how I acted in middle school. Anyway, the boys admit they did it over lunch. They introduce the girls to how prank week works. The returning students play pranks on the new kids throughout the week. And since all the girls are new students, they get to be pranked too! How cool is that? The last straw happens just minutes later, when the boys pelt the girls with water balloons. Wait, did I say pelt? I meant completely drench! Especially Zoey. So of course, you know, this means war. So what do? An actual prank. They deface a statue of the school's founder, putting him in women's clothing and makeup. A simple prank that, while effective, doesn't do any real property damage and doesn't have much of a cleanup effort attached. But what the girls didn't know was that the founder's son was about to make a trip to campus. Brief aside, couldn't that trip wait until after prank week? He's literally the founder's son, so he should be aware of the tradition. Founder's son sees the defaced statue, has a crap attack, and demands the school revert to boys only, effective immediately. What follows is one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this video. Zoey, she decides to take the fall. She tells the founder's son and the dean that she was the one who came up with the prank. She pleads with them to just expel her so the other girls can have a chance to succeed at this prestigious academy. And that's the most blatant evidence that Zoey is not bland or a bitch. What she is in this moment is brave. Brave enough to take the heat for something just to protect the other girls. She's not being performative or a mean girl. She's sacrificing her spot. And if that doesn't scream main character with morals to you, I don't know what the fuck will. And the boys feel bad for Zoey taking the fall. They don't want her to leave, not because she's some Mary Sue. It's because the founder's son was being unreasonably harsh about it. Again, he should know about prank week already. The boys further deface the statue, making it look like he's pissing. No one boy takes the fall for it. Basically a, if you have to expel Zoey, you have to expel all of us too kind of gambit. The founder's son relents. Everyone is happy. The end. Prank week isn't just some filler episode, it's a full-blown character defense that shows Zoey's not a perfect pick-me or queen bee. She's the girl who sees a rigged system, steps forward and says, fine, blame me so the other girls can have a future. And the boys stepping up isn't plot armor, it's solidarity. They don't think it's fair the girls have to get punished for a low-stakes prank. They took a stand to defend her. So next time someone tells you that Zoey Brooks was boring, show them this episode. Show them the prank, the plea, the self-sacrifice. Show them the entire student body rallying behind her. Not because she demanded loyalty, but because she inspired it. Zoey doesn't just stand up for the girls in general, she also takes the time to help individual ones. For example, season 1, episode 8, Quinn's date. The basic plot. Quinn develops a crush on fellow PCA student Mark Del Figolo, a rather passive man who is just my 8th and 9th grade boyfriend, quote-unquote, in 2000s form. What the fuck? But she's too nervous to ask him out, so she loops Zoey in to do it. Shenanigans ensue. Even though Zoey doesn't see the appeal in Mark, she tries to encourage Quinn to talk to him. Of course, since this is Quinn, it doesn't go very well.
I just said hello. Then I asked him if I could have one of his nose hairs. Why? To compare it to one of mine under a microscope.
Okay, I've never done that, But I can see myself asking something equally as unhinged in the 8th grade, like say, do you like Kingdom Hearts? Or let me play you a Vocaloid song on my viola. Quinn continues to do embarrassing things that I would have done at that age to try and understand romance. Of course, none of them work, so she gets Zoey to talk to him. That goes about as well as you'd think.
Here's the thing. My friend Quinn, she thinks you're really cute and she wants to go out with you. Will ya?
No.
Are you sure? I mean, she's really pretty and she's right over there.
Nah.
Zoey lies to Quinn, claiming Mark agreed to a date. I guess I can see why this would be bitchy, as she tells a pretty serious lie. But let's think critically. Quinn is the show's stereotypical weird girl, but Zoey, and by extension Nicole, go out of their way to try and help her. They tell her to not do things that would invade the privacy of others. They try to coach her in the art of preteen seduction. Wait, no, that sounds very fucked up. They try to coach her in the art of talking to boys. Because Zoey doesn't think Quinn's quirks make her undeserving of romance, she's trying to protect her heart without crushing her spirit. Is it a lie? Yes. Is it a good idea? Fuck no! But it's a lie born from empathy, not malice. Zoey cares enough to get caught in an awkward situation so Quinn can feel wanted. To not get caught in the lie, Zoey doesn't do anything to demean Quinn. Instead, she leaves Chase to go on a picnic double date with her, Quinn, and Mark. Chase is down bad for Zoey, so he says yes. She tells Quinn not to call it a date for extra protection, claiming boys get weirded out by the term. The double date goes terribly, as you'd expect. It's too close to looking like a real date to not be suspicious. You know, with scented candles, flowers, and that kid-friendly stuff they use instead of champagne at all those Grands Prix in more conservative Muslim countries. You can't escape Formula One, motherfuckers! It's ruined me, and now I'm going to ruin you with it! Anyway, the big twist of the episode turns out to be that Mark already has a girlfriend. Said girlfriend dumps him because she catches him on the fake date. Quinn assumes Mark said yes to dating her while already having a girlfriend and leaves too. Zoey and Chase tell the truth, and Quinn and Mark end up going out. Okay, and like, this isn't just a one-off too. Mark remains a recurring character for the rest of the series. He and Quinn stay together through season 4. So no, Zoey isn't perfect. She lies, meddles, and gets it wrong sometimes, but she cares, and she almost always acts out of protection, not pettiness, and in the end, Quinn got what she wanted. She gets into a relationship with Mark, and it's one of the most stable relationships in the entire series. This isn't the work of a bland character, and it's definitely not the move of someone cruel or calculating. It's messy, it's misguided, but it's rooted in real empathy. And that's what makes Zoey such a compelling lead. She wants to do the right thing, even if it means breaking the rules, even if it benefits the weird girl. And if that makes her unlikable, that's a you problem. The basic plot. Nicole accidentally spills her not juicy drop pop on a brand new PCA backpack and is forced to buy it for $50? Even in 2005 money, that seems like overkill. To make Nicole feel better, Zoey customizes the backpack and makes it into something actually cool, wearable, and probably worth the $50. She would later make another custom backpack for Chase, one that is just as eye-popping. A senior girl named Stacy compliments Zoey on her backpack accessorizing. She takes some photos, claiming they're for the school newspaper, but then...
So psyched. So I called my boyfriend. Hey, did you see those backpacks? Yeah, I love it. Don't you just love it? Okay, what is going on?
That is.
Yep, she straight up did a plagiarism. Even claimed the photos were of her selling the backpack to Zoey. Zoey got James Somerton before James Somerton was even a thing. Zoey does not take this lying down. Instead, she and her friends directly confront Stacy for stealing her idea. See, this is personality right here. A bland character would have just sighed and walked away, but instead, she tried to attack injustice at the source. And Zoey's solution to the problem was not the expected gather evidence and expose Stacy for who she really is. Instead, Zoey decides to one-up her own creation. Right as Stacy is close to sealing a deal with the school bookstore, Zoey reveals a brand new backpack design. This one has an MP3 player and a back massager. You know, all the essentials for 2005. Zoey's new and improved backpack makes Stacy's instantly undesirable, and the bookstore makes the deal with her instead. Zoey uses the proceeds to buy a new jukebox for the girls' dorm. Nice! So let's recap. In one 23-minute episode, Zoey comforts a friend with a creative solution to a financial mishap, gets that solution plagiarized by an older girl, confronts that injustice head-on, outshines her enemy with a better invention on the spot, and uses the proceeds on something for the whole dorm. How is this in any way bland? And no, it's not bitchy either. Zoey didn't throw a tantrum or try to go scorched earth on those who wronged her. Zoey leveled up Stacy's backpacks, without needing to tell anyone the idea was hers in the first place. And she used that money for something the entire dorm could enjoy. That's iconic behavior. It goes to show Zoey's a principled, stylish problem solver who stands up for herself and those around her. And if that makes her intimidating to some, good! While characters like Quinn get lucky in love, Zoey's love life is messier. Case in point, Season 1, Episode 12, School Dance. The basic plot. It's school dance season, and PCA decides to use personality quizzes to match compatible partners together. Chase tries to exploit this so he can be matched with Zoey, but this backfires spectacularly. I'll level with y'all. Most of the episode's humor stems from all the pairs being woefully mismatched. Why? Because again, they were picked based on a personality test. Not like the MBTI test or something, but like the 2005 equivalent of a BuzzFeed quiz. The results are chaos. Dana gets paired with Logan, a genuine war crime if you ask me. Nicole ends up with some hyperactive nightmare version of herself. Michael ends up with the foreign exchange student. Somehow, even though the quiz supposedly only matched boys and girls together. And of course, since this is a Schneider show, the foreign exchange student is the butt of a lot of jokes.
Mikael! So we go to dance together, yeah?
In America, we eat corn horizontally. You know, side to side.
So funny! Mikael, I am so sorry, but I must go pray to the moon.
Well, I understand. You gotta go pray to the moon, you gotta go pray to the moon.
What is it with Schneider shows and their love for foreign stereotypes? As for Chase, well, he isn't matched with Zoey. Instead, Zoey matches with Glenn Davis, an attractive student who's so popular he only appears in this episode. Zoey is smitten, and I can see why. Glenn isn't a dick. He treats her nicely and is kind of just there, making it even worse for Chase. The dance itself is not important. What is important is we find out how Glenn matched with Zoey. He copied her answers too, just in different ways.
You stole Zoe's personality test?
Oh, hey Chase, how's it going?
You stole it? Did you? Look, I put it back. Yeah, sure. After you copied down all of Zoe's answers to make sure you got matched up with her.
Come on, dude, she's hot.
Naturally, Zoey finds out. She gets pissed. She tells them both that she's disappointed in them and that what they both did, was pathetic. And you know what? She's absolutely correct. Rigging your answers to get matched with someone specific is not cute or romantic. It's super manipulative. And Zoey sees that and sets a boundary. She tells Glenn and Chase they aren't allowed to cheat their way into getting her attention. That's powerful. It's another moment that proves Zoey doesn't just orbit the other characters. She stands up to them, holds them accountable, and tells the truth. That truth being, what Chase and Glenn both did was shitty, and they should feel bad about it. Another episode exploring Zoey's relationship with Chase is Season 2, Episode 3. The election. The basic plot. It's student election season. Zoey and Chase nominate each other for the student body president role. This even though neither of them actually want it. They promise the election would not affect their friendship. But their campaigns quickly go off the rails thanks to Logan. Every 2000 show needed their class election episode, and Zoey 101 is no different. But this episode does show one of Zoey's few genuinely bitchy moments, only I'd argue her bitchiness was justified in the situation. Let me explain. Firstly, Chase nominates Zoey right when he gets the chance to. You know, without considering whether Zoey would feel comfortable getting nominated. She even nominates Chase's payback, which is fair considering how nonchalant he is about the whole thing.
Chase!
Sorry, Zoe. You're on the ballot. That means you gotta run.
Okay, fine.
Chase does admit, though, he is worried about running against Zoey. Why? Well, they're such good friends, you know? Such good friends that he copied her BuzzFeed quiz so he could try and get her to date him in the school dance episode. Remember that? Regardless, as I said in the episode summary, the two vow to not let the election affect their friendship. Okay, cool. Guess how long it takes for Chase to get pressured into breaking that promise.
Free smoothies! Compliments of Chase Matthews. Remember, a vote for Chase is a vote for free smoothies.
Again, to Chase's credit, this was Logan's idea. Chase got pressured into letting him do it. But it's still a dick move. Why? Even if Chase didn't come up with the idea to bribe voters with smoothies and PCA cash with Chase's face on it and whatnot, he still let it happen. He didn't warn Zoey Logan was going to pull this shit without his permission. He didn't even try to make things fair. He just lets Logan be his campaign manager. The worst part? Chase knows it's wrong. He's visibly uncomfortable at Logan shilling him to the entirety of PCA. He tells Zoey he knows this is wrong, but he doesn't do the emotionally mature thing and call off the competition or apologize to Zoey. Oh no. This leads us to one of the more infamous moments people point to when they call Zoey a bitch. Zoey confronts Chase in the boys' locker room about Logan's bullshit. Don't question why they're in the boys' locker room, just go with it. Chase decides to drop out, but Zoey says,
Oh, okay, so now you're just gonna quit and let me win?
I didn't say that.
You think the only way I can win is if you drop out.
How is this happening?
You better not quit or I'm gonna be really mad.
So Zoey basically forces him to stay in the race. And okay, I can see why this could be interpreted as bitchy. Chase offers to drop out, not wanting to affect his friendship with Zoey any further. She refuses and forces him to stay in the race. But I'd argue Zoey is justified here for two reasons. One, Zoey has good reason to be pissed at Chase. Her so-called friend let Logan bulldoze a mutual agreement, bribe voters, and turn a class election into a PCA super PAC. Then he tried to spin it as if he was doing her a favor by dropping out. He's not acting out of genuine remorse. He's trying to get a fast pass to the moral high ground because he didn't stop Logan before he had a chance to pull this shit. It's less, I'm sorry I hurt you, and more, if I disappear, you can't be mad at me anymore. Which, newsflash, is not accountability, and Zoey knows this. 2. If the roles were reversed here, Zoey would have been dragged. Let's say Zoey allowed her friends to do similar shit. Let's say she let Lola or Nicole bribe voters without stopping them. Let's say she then dramatically dropped out while acting like it was some noble sacrifice. She would have been eaten alive on social media. People would have called her a gaslight gatekeep girl boss unironically. The people who call her a bitch would be justified in calling her a bitch. But when a man does it, no consequences are to be had. He's just a sweet, honorable man who's just a tortured cinnamon roll ooh-woo. He didn't know any better. Zoey refusing his grand dropout isn't mean. It's necessary. If she didn't push back, she would become another girl stuck cleaning up after a boy who made a mess and called it chivalry. But Chase is determined to lose the election. So what does he do? He makes a hit piece against himself. Yeah, there's no way making an attack ad about yourself in a contentious election could ever backfire.
How could you make a mean commercial like that about him?
I didn't.
Zoey, you have slandered and desecrated Chase's reputation. That's sad, Zoey.
Yeah, no shit. Of course people assume Zoey resorted to underhanded tactics. Chase, what were you thinking? Like, genuinely, what was your plan? To gaslight the entire school into thinking Zoey was the bad guy? To make people feel bad for Zoey and vote her out of pity? That's not strategy. That's psychological warfare. And thank fuck, after pulling that, they both finally drop out of the race, allowing a dark horse victory for Mark Del Figaro? What? Okay, that's not actually surprising. He was like the only other candidate running. They established that earlier in the episode. So let's review. Zoey gets unwillingly nominated. Chase lets Logan torpedo their friendship pact with bribes. Instead of owning up to it, he pulls a woe is me dropout moment that Zoey is expected to accept so he can feel like the good guy again. When she refuses, she's the bitch. Then he makes a smear ad about himself, which blows up in her face. And somehow she's the one people still drag for being mean. No, what we're actually seeing here is a girl who's been forced to navigate a minefield of male egos, empty apologies, and faux chivalry. And she has the audacity to hold her ground. So yeah, maybe Zoey wasn't nice in this episode, but she was honest, she was assertive, and she was right. And if standing up for herself and demanding fairness makes her a bitch, then maybe more girls should be bitches. Despite being a gifted student, Zoey is not the best at certain STEM subjects. There are a couple of episodes that touch on this, the first being Season 2, Episode 8, Robot Wars. The basic plot. Zoey challenges 3 arrogant nerds to a warbot battle. What is a warbot?
Warbots are remote control robots used in fighting competition.
Thanks, arrogant nerds! But after challenging the dudes to a robot war and a pretty good zing from Chase...
This is a girl. Now, I know that might confuse you since you've probably never been this close to one.
Zoey realizes that neither she, Lola, Nicole, nor the 3 main boys know how to build one. So they go to Quinn. She agrees to help after learning which arrogant nerds Zoey challenged.
Still mad, Quinn? Just because we wouldn't let you join the science club?
Why wouldn't you guys let her join?
Girls and science go together like sodium hypochlorite and ammonia.
You see, this is why girls don't talk to you fuckers. But Logan ruins everything when he insults her. So they instead turn to the smartest boy at PCA, who... Why the fuck does he also look like the guys I was into at that age? He looks more like Aaron than Mark Del Figaro, holy fuck. He builds the bot according to the gang's plans. But remember how I said Zoey and everyone have no idea how to build a bot? Yeah, they obviously don't know how to fight a bot either. They get crushed in the competition. They end up winning the battle, but only because the nerd's robot violated one of the building rules. And Quinn comes in with her tiny bot to dab on those fuckers. This episode is textbook proof Zoey is not some flawless genius girl. She starts a robot war she isn't remotely prepared for, and while she's smart enough to go to Quinn for help, she's also too proud to protect the alliance when Logan screws it up. The result? She gets crushed, annihilated in the actual competition. The only reason she technically wins is because the other team violated a rule, and even that hollow victory has to be salvaged by Quinn. So no, Zoey's not perfect. She's impulsive, overly confident, and in this case, out of her depth. But what matters is that she tries, she learns, she asks for help, and she doesn't let failure make her bitter. The basic plot. Lola is struggling in biology class and asks Chase to tutor her. As they spend more time together, Lola develops feelings for him, forcing Zoey and Chase to address the will they, won't they dynamic of their relationship. Or will they? In case it wasn't obvious already, Chase's crush on Zoey is one of the biggest subplots in the series. The tension between the two is the forefront of some episodes we've already covered. This episode is no exception, and it's not just because Lola happens to like Chase in this episode. Now, the chemistry between Chase and Lola doesn't matter. Lola only likes Chase in this episode. Everything returns to the status quo afterwards. But what does matter is how Zoey reacts to it. Zoey also has some feelings for Chase, but they're more complicated. Why? Because she's not ready to admit her feelings to anyone, not even herself. Zoey definitely likes Chase, but she's not ready to claim him. She doesn't want to step into territory that could change their dynamic or make things messy. And in that silence, Lola makes her move. Lola is sensible enough to ask Zoey about her relationship with Chase first. Why? Because everyone can sense those feelings. And also because
I might ask Chase out.
Oh, yeah?
And while Zoey does give Lola her blessing, she is visibly uncomfortable at seeing her roommate and her friend together. And sure, you might think of that as bitchy. After all, she gave them her blessing. But that's the trap, isn't it? Zoey's discomfort doesn't make her a bad friend, it makes her real. She's 14, she's figuring herself out, and doesn't want to admit that she's jealous. Again, Zoey is a teenager. Teenagers can be confused, bitter, emotionally constipated, and that's the point. And Chase spending time with Lola chips away at the time Zoey can spend with him. That's what stings the most to her. And to Chase's credit, he doesn't lead Lola on. He goes on a couple of dates with her, but admits to her that he's in love with someone else. He doesn't say it's Zoey. In fact, he lies and claims his crushes from his hometown, but this is one of the few times he takes the high ground and makes the mature decision. And Lola accepts it. They agree to stay friends. Everyone's happy, and we get one of the first feet jokes in Schneider's cinematic universe.
So, which would you rather do?
Huh?
Be locked in a cage with a wild tiger, or lick peanut butter off a hobo's foot?
Oh, easy. Peanut butter off a hobo's foot.
And one of the first digs at homeless people. What the fuck is wrong with this man? This episode is a two-part special, the first of like 4 in the series. That's why it counts as episodes 10 and 11 of season 2. Anyway, the basic plot. The gang plus Zoey's child prodigy brother, who also goes to PCA, are invited to stay with Logan over spring break. They find out Logan's father is a prominent Hollywood producer. He ropes the kids into competing in the test pilot for his new reality game show, Gender Defenders. But Chase pulls some bullshit that ruins the whole game for everyone. How? We'll find out! If it wasn't obvious at this point, I don't like Chase Matthews. In my opinion, he's the textbook definition of a nice guy TM. He thinks that as long as he's persistent and overtly helpful, he'll get the girl. The most interesting thing about him is his obvious crush on Zoey, and he barely acts on it. He's almost always saying something, almost always doing the right thing, but nothing ever comes of it. Case in point, Chase's fuck up in this episode almost destroys the entire friend group. How? He got too scared to own up to his mistakes like an actual fucking human being. Oh right, I should probably explain what he did. Let's start from the beginning. As I said before, Logan's dad ropes the kids into filming a test pilot for his show, Gender Defenders. From the title, you can probably guess they're split up into a girls team and a boys team, and you'd be correct. Naturally, Zoey is the girls team captain, and Chase is the boys team captain. As a thank you for helping him, Logan's dad gives all the kids brand new tech mates. What is a tech mate, you ask?
What aren't tech mates?
Oh, they're a cell phone, address book, MP3 player.
They do emails, text messaging, web access.
Yes, kids. This is what counted as high tech back in the day. A tiny screen with your very own tiny keyboard that can only play MP3s and even access the web. Michael is also encouraging Chase to admit to Zoey he has a crush on her. You know, the thing that was obvious in season 1, episode 1. Oh, right, we're skipping episodes. Season 1, episode 5. Chase is actually kind of mature about it. He says he's good friends with Zoey and he doesn't want to risk their friendship over a teenage crush. But that doesn't stop Michael harassing Chase over text for him to just confess already! Thus resulting in the fuck up.
Did you tell Zoey you love her?
No, man, I've told you 1,000 times I'm not telling her. Didn't you read my text message?
What text message?
On your TechMate, the one I sent you after you messaged me.
You didn't message me back.
Yeah, I did. Look, man, I wrote, for the billionth time, no. If I tell Zoey I love her, it could wreck our friendship.
I didn't get that message.
Well, I sent it.
Let me see. You didn't send that message to me.
I didn't?
No.
Then who did I send it to?
Zoey.
Zoey? Zoey!
At this point, we're 17 minutes into this 48-minute special. We've established the dilemma. Chase has a crush on Zoey. Michael wants him to grow a backbone, but he doesn't want to admit his feelings. Zoey is still completely unaware because he's never admitted his feelings before. But because the universe is tired of waiting, Chase accidentally sends something admitting his crush to Zoey. A text meant for his best friend. A text that said he didn't want to admit he loved Zoey was sent to Zoey. Take a guess as to what happens next. did you guess? Did you guess the worst possible option that could completely destroy his friendship with Zoey if he's caught? If so, you are correct! And your reward is the urge to drink yourself into a coma, just like how I did when I rewatched this special. Now this is partly on Michael too, because he's the one who suggests to Chase that he should delete Zoey's text from her own phone, which, need I remind you, is not either of their phones. After a few failed attempts, the first Gender Defender Challenge begins. A scavenger hunt! How convenient. Something that would cause both teams to split up and for Chase to get the techmate undetected. How fucking convenient! Chase manages to get Zoey's techmate and delete the text, but he can't find a good opening to put it back. That places the girls at a disadvantage when they try and text Zoey the scavenger hunt hints. The boys win the challenge, but...
How could we win? You didn't bring me the combination.
We text messaged it to you.
Where's my techmate?
Quinn calls Zoey's techmate to see where she left it, revealing the obvious.
Chase?
I found it.
Smooth, operator. Real smooth. Zoey accuses Chase of cheating, that he stole the phone so his team could win. Naturally, Chase denies it, but he can't find a valid reason for why he has her phone during the competition, because there is none, and he did steal it, just not for cheating-related purposes. The boys keep their point because nepotism, but Zoey is still pissed at Chase for his little stunt, and honestly, I don't blame her. Chase took her personal property without her permission and lied about it. This isn't just some harmless misunderstanding, and it doesn't matter if his motive was romantic angst. From her point of view, he broke her trust for selfish reasons and then had the nerve to act cagey about it. The tension continues through the second challenge, which is some pointless shit that does nothing to advance the plot. It then continues into the third challenge, where Zoey and Chase have to water joust each other. And this is the big emotional climax the writers give us. Not a conversation, not a reckoning, not a moment of clarity or catharsis, just two almost lovers beating each other with foam sticks on a floating platform. Because nothing says romantic resolution like water jousting! Of course, Zoey is out for blood, and Chase lets her win. Not because she's stronger or more strategic or even right. He lets her win as a grand romantic gesture. You know, instead of just apologizing like a normal person. That's the biggest problem with this episode. Chase faces no real repercussions for stealing Zoey's phone. Sure, he admits to it at the end and apologizes, but he only says the text he deleted was meant for Michael. Zoey forgives him for some reason, but asks what the text was. And before Chase can say it, before he can finally face the consequences of his actions, the rest of the gang drags them back to the dorm to watch the first episode of Gender Defenders. Chase admits what the message says over text, but Zoey's techmate falls into the fountain before she can read it. What a fucking cop-out! And that right there is the core issue with the entire Zoey 101 formula. Chase never has to grow because the plot keeps saving him from himself. Meanwhile, Zoey is left holding the emotional bag to carry. Zoey is not bland or a bitch in this episode. She just appears bland because she's not the focus of this episode. Chase really is the main character here. He's the one with the internal conflict and emotional stakes. Zoey is just reacting to his actions. And let's be clear, those actions are objectively shady. He invades Zoey's privacy, ruins a group challenge, and gaslights his crush until he's practically forced to confess. And then he still minimizes the truth and gets away with not revealing anything about his feelings for her. He knows the answer matters. He knows she wants clarity. But once again, the universe hands him an escape route in the form of a conveniently located fountain. The writers let him off the hook. Despite all that, Zoey forgives him without ever seeing the message. She doesn't get the emotional payoff she deserves. So if your takeaway is that she's the cold one, rethink it. She's navigating this mess with more grace than most people would. Spring Breakup is a masterclass in what happens when you center a boy's ego over a girl's feelings. And for a show that's about Zoey, it's wild how little her feelings actually matter when Chase Matthews is involved. But sure, keep calling her the problem. See how far that gets you. Like Robot Wars, this episode shows Zoey isn't a genius at everything. This time, it's more academically inclined. The basic plot. Zoey is struggling in chemistry class, earning a C on her latest test. As someone who hated chemistry in high school, I relate to this so much. Zoey wants to genuinely get better in the class to get that GPA up. So she asks the teacher for some help. The teacher agrees to get someone to tutor her. The big twist of the episode is said tutor happens to be Logan! For you see, Logan, despite being a rich, arrogant slacker, is a straight A student in chemistry. He hides this because that would hinder his street cred. So they make a deal. Logan won't tell anyone he's tutoring Zoey as long as Zoey won't tell anyone he's good at chemistry. But Flower, you ask. Couldn't Zoey just ask Quinn to tutor her? But you see, the show explains why that wasn't an option.
It's so simple! It's not simple. Just repeat after me. Spectroscopy. Spectroscopy is the use of the absorption, emission, or scattering. Is the use of absorption, emission, or scattering of electromagnetic radiation by atoms or molecules to qualitatively or quantitatively study the atoms or molecules. No human can say that. I could say it in kindergarten. Say it.
Quinn's about as good at explaining highly technical stuff as I am. So Zoey and Logan spend more time together, secretly, but they aren't careful enough. Everyone starts assuming Logan and Zoey are dating. Why? No one thinks Logan is that good of a student, nor do they think Zoey would ever need a tutor. Jason and Michael walking in on them as tutoring wrapped up certainly didn't help with the optics.
Oh, be careful. Whoa.
Hi.
The way this plotline is resolved is not important here. What's important is how Zoey tries to cover it up. She makes mistakes. Hell, this same scene shows Zoey lied to her friends to hide the tutoring.
Thought you were taking a yoga class.
And Lola said you were seeing a movie.
Yeah, it was a movie about yoga, which I came to tell you guys about. And now that you know, good night.
Totally not suspicious, guys. Wow! And that's just it. Zoey's not playing some flawless, morally polished protagonist here. She lies. She covers things up. She assumes the best in Logan, rookie mistake. She underestimates how messy things can get when you let pride and secrets fester. The episode also shows that Zoey is not naturally good at everything. She got a C on a test. She needs help to improve her grade. And Zoey is open to having a tutor so she can get that sweet, sweet GPA boost. And yes, a C is a passing grade, I know. But Zoey prides herself on getting good grades, on getting A's. She tells her chemistry teacher she's only ever gotten A's and B's before her class. And well, same, I was that kid in high school. The one that almost always made A's and B's on everything and worked her ass off to do so. Zoey is not the girl who's good at everything. She's the girl who wants to be, and that distinction is what makes her human. One of Zoey's biggest pet peeves is people pulling strings to make her dreams come true. Not because she's a Mary Sue who just can't accept the things handed to her. She wants to get what she wants fair and square. Take, for example, Season 3, Episode 20, Son of a D. The basic plot is, well, Zoey dates the school dean's son. What else did you expect? Because Zoey's dating the dean's son, she and her roommates get special privileges. A brand new fridge upon request, a new mattress for Quinn sooner than expected. Nothing overtly corrupt, just small favors that benefit all three girls. All is well. But then, Zoey wins the coveted prize in a school-wide contest, a ticket to see a movie recently filmed at the school. Why the studio could only give out one ticket? It's never explained. Just go with it. Zoey's friends accuse the dean's son of rigging the contest to make her win, which is justifiable. It's not a secret that Zoey is dating the dean's son, and Zoey's roommates are already getting perks out of it. Of course they would assume the dean's son rigged the contest for Zoey to win. Zoey defends him because she sees the good in people, because she wants to believe things are fair, and she has a point. Technically, the entries were anonymous, as they were through a randomized number system. She doesn't want to jump to conclusions. Why would she think her boyfriend would cheat for her?
Hi, I can't believe I won.
And you're not going alone.
You're going?
We're going.
But how did
The movie studio gave my dad 2 tickets.
Okay, yeah, the Dean's son rigged the game. But remember, Zoey sees the good in everyone and doesn't want to make assumptions. Besides, as Zoey says, the Dean's son did some favors for Quinn and Lola. Why would Zoey assume he would also use his powers for evil? But alas, the Dean's son reveals his cunning scheme and loot to the movie. He did rig the contest, not out of malice, but because he wanted to impress Zoey.
So we could go together. How romantic am I?
Zoey does not take it well. She doesn't swoon over the gestures, giggling and skipping into the movie theater. Oh no, she calls him out. And when he brings up the favors he did for her roommates, she reminds him giving them a fridge and a new mattress doesn't take opportunities away from anyone else, but that rigging a raffle for a once-in-a-lifetime experience does. And she leaves him on the spot. The best part? Zoey apologizes to her friends in the end. She owns up to her mistake and asks for their forgiveness. And her friends apologize too for being dicks about it. Because yeah, they were rude to the girl who assumed the best in people. If Zoey knew the raffle was rigged and went with the Dean's son anyway, that would have been a bitchy move. But she didn't do that. And she didn't get holier than thou either. She admits to her mistake. We get an actual emotional resolution. Where's the bitchiness in that? The basic plot. Logan is desperate for some extracurriculars to put on his college resume, which is objectively hilarious since his super dad can just buy him into a school. So what does Logan do? He creates and hosts a girls' beauty pageant. Zoey and Lola aren't on board until the grand prize is revealed, an appearance on the cover of Buzz magazine. Before the competition heats up, Zoey works to make flattering outfits for her and Lola. Oh, you don't believe Zoey was making outfits for both of them? Take a look.
Wait, I thought you said the red dress was for me.
I did, but then I started messing around with them and I decided that the other dress would look better on you and this one was better for me.
The other dress for reference is this blue strapless dress that would definitely look better on Lola than on Zoey. But Lola takes it as Zoey trying to beat her in the competition, not helped by some choice words from Logan.
If I were you, I'd focus on what I was gonna wear for the evening gown competition.
I got that covered.
You already got a dress?
Yeah, Zoey picked out a couple of nice ones for us at this cool boutique right off campus.
And you think that's a smart plan?
Yeah, Zoe's got great taste. Why?
Zoey's competing against you.
So?
So she's gonna make sure her dress is better than yours.
At that point, it's game on. The girls are in it to win it, no matter what it takes. By the time the final catwalk hits, it's less about the title and more about proving a point. The point? Who gets to be seen as the girl who has it all? Well, we don't even get to see that. Lola's rep falls into some mud, causing yet another fight. That in turn turns into the writer's barely disguised fetish. Wait, Jamie Lynn Spears was a minor when this was filmed. Oh my god! Somehow this mud fighting makes Zoey and Lola realize how ridiculous they've been, and they apologize to each other. Logan is pissed the girls made up, and they beat the shit out of him in the mud pit. The end. This episode isn't just a continuation of Zoey's fashion finesse, it's the perfect showcasing of how dynamic of a character she can be. Normally, Zoey is the mediator, working as hard as she can to help her quirky classmates get along. But here, she's fighting tooth and nail to defeat one of her friends in a competition that's ultimately meaningless. Spurred, yes, by Logan's manipulation, but also by Lola accusing Zoey of sabotaging her. Remember how Zoey said the red dress was originally for Lola, but Zoey said she thought the other dress would suit Lola better? Let's play this scene out some more.
So you're saying I'd look bad in that dress?
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you kind of did.
Girls.
Look, I made your dress look just as cool as mine.
Okay. Let's see it.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn between ill and...
Lola straight up dissed Zoey's craftsmanship. She called the dress fucking ugly. Of course Zoey would be pissed at that. Wouldn't you? And that in turn shows one of Zoey's flaws, pride. Zoey only cares about winning because Lola wronged her, and now she wants to beat Lola. Chase himself even brings it up.
This is important to me. I want to be on the cover of Buzz.
No, you don't. You're just obsessed with beating Lola because you guys are in a fight.
She gets competitive, she gets prideful, she lashes out when someone she trusted turns on her. And yes, her ego takes the wheel for a while in this episode, but that's not a sign of her being a bitch. That's the sign of her being fleshed out. The people who call Zoey bland are the same people who ignore moments like these. Moments where she drops her usual role as a mediator. Moments where she goes to war with the people who she feels personally wronged her. Miss PCA proves she's a girl who can design outfits, chase dreams, hold grudges, forgive friends, and still walk away with her dignity and tact. already talked about how much I dislike Chase. He's a stereotypical nice guy who the fandom forgives because he's ooh-woo cinnamon roll adorable. Apparently. And fine. You find him attractive. Weird you admit to being attracted to a literal teenager when most of y'all are in the 18 to 34-year-old range. But fine. I can see why people look past Chase's actions, at least so far. I can see how others see him as an awkward teen who doesn't know how to confess his feelings to his best friend. I can see why people want to assume the best from him. I'm not sure why they don't assume the best from Zoey as well. Seems like a bit of a double standard, but okay. But I'd argue Chase loses the moral high ground immediately during the season 3 finale. Why? Because he didn't learn his lesson from spring breakup. He doesn't do the mature thing and talk to Zoey about something potentially life-changing. Instead, he makes assumptions and spirals into an unforgivable, petty tantrum. So, let's talk about it. Let's talk about season 3, episodes 24 and 25. Goodbye, Zoey. The basic plot. Zoey's parents make a surprise visit to PCA to tell her and her brother Dustin that they're moving to England for work. The parents give the two a choice, stay at PCA or go with them and attend an elite boarding school in London. Dustin declines the offer, but Zoey wants to give it some thought first. Zoey talks with her friends about potentially moving to England. All of her friends except Chase. Why? She wants to discuss it with him one-on-one, see what he thinks. You know, because Chase is Zoey's best friend and she values his opinion, and because everyone else hasn't really been helpful.
You're leaving PCA?
Can I have your JetX?
She might love Covington Prep too. Yeah, I mean,
It's supposed to be one of the best boarding schools in the world.
If you drop a peanut in a glass of lemonade, it explodes.
What school could possibly be better than PCA?
Covington's more expensive than PCA.
The peanut just sank.
How many kids get a chance to go study in London?
Before Zoey has a chance to ask Chase, he finds out through the time-old tradition of gossip. Of course, it starts with the resident butt monkey telling another side character who tells some other NPCs, and it gets warped into claims that Zoey is leaving PCA and going to London. And that's what Chase hears. Now we're 9 minutes into this two-parter. The conflict is established. Chase hears a warped rumor that Zoey is leaving PCA and going to a school in London. Chase is obviously upset to hear this, more so because he didn't hear it from Zoey herself. Take a guess as to what happens next. If you picked D, congrats, you got it correct! A was a close second though, and probably would have made for a decent scene too, but of course it was the worst option! And I'm not kidding when I say passive-aggressively. Zoey comes to his room to have a one-on-one conversation with him about England. You know, a chance to set the record straight. A chance for Chase to learn the truth, and for Zoey to realize her dilemma got twisted in the rumor mill. But nope! He skips the dialogue, ignores the pacifist route entirely, and goes full genocide run. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of Undertale lately.
Hey, you got a sec?
For you? Sure.
Good, cause there's something I gotta talk to you about.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Is everything okay?
Everything's awesome.
Zoey tells Chase about her opportunity, hoping to hear his take on it. As she said before, Chase bitterly tells her to take it. No follow-up question, no, is this what you really want, or anything like that. Just a shit ton of spite dressed up as passive-aggressive support, quote-unquote. He hears that Zoey's leaving, and that's that. He makes her feel guilty for not reading his mind, for wanting to talk with him after the gossip got out, even though, again, Zoey didn't know the rumor spread! And you know what Zoey does? She internalizes it. She blinks and walks away, hurt and confused. She walks away thinking Chase emotionally slammed the door in her face. Because in his eyes, the real betrayal isn't that she might be leaving, it's that she didn't center his feelings first. That's the part that always gets brushed off. Chase doesn't just marinate in his own self-loathing, he weaponizes it. He bitterly pushes the person he cares about the most away, and Zoey, hoping for clarity, got a kind of closure she never asked for. So no, I don't want to hear he's just a teenager, he didn't know how to handle his feelings, because guess what? So was Zoey, and she was the one trying to set the record straight. And because of Chase's actions, Zoey decides to go to London. Not because it's what she truly wants, but because the one person she trusted to help her sort it out told her to fuck off. So she assumes he doesn't care. Luckily, Chase is called out for this behavior by Michael. Michael is actually the most mature character in this episode, like by a mile. While everyone else is being useless, Michael steps in with the voice of reason. He tells Zoey's roommates and Logan that the best thing they can do is support her in her decision. And when he sees Chase in the middle of his self-pity party, he straight up calls him an asshole for not being there for Zoey.
What's your deal?
I was this close to level 40 and
Zoey's leaving PCA. For good. And you're talking about Dickie Rosenberg.
Rusty Dickers.
How can you not care that Zoey's leaving?
Who says I don't care?
You don't act like it.
Michael is also the one who delivers the smoking gun once Zoey leaves. Chase finally tells him what his fucking deal is. He claims mean old Zoey just decided to leave without even talking to him. That she didn't care what he thought. That she made up her mind without him. And Michael hits him with the truth.
She hadn't made up her mind yet when she went to talk to you. And guess what? If you had said don't go, she'd still be here.
Bam! Direct shot. If Chase told Zoey to not leave PCA, she wouldn't have left PCA. But now she's gone. Forever. That line reveals the core of the episode. Chase wasn't betrayed. He projected a betrayal. He didn't wait for the facts. He didn't listen. He assumed. And instead of confronting the situation like a best friend or hell any normal person, he wallowed in his self-pity and pushed Zoey away. Michael is the only one who tells the truth if the audience, i.e. me, is screaming. This is your goddamn fault, Chase. You and your fucking ego. Zoey trusted you, and you threw it away because of some fucking rumor you didn't even bother to fact check. What the fuck is wrong with you? And now, he has to sit with the consequences of his own actions. Act 2 consists of Chase doing everything in his power to not sit with the consequences of his actions. First, he desperately tries to get Zoey's new cell phone number, but the call doesn't go through. Why? Because she's on the plane to London right now! Because of you, you idiot! Chase then arranges a video call to apologize and explain himself to Zoey. It's meant to be this grand moment of emotional catharsis, the big I'm sorry speech. And you can tell Zoey's open to hearing it, like she wants to move forward. She's calm and she forgives him. And for a fleeting second, you think maybe, just maybe, he's learned something. That he's finally gonna do the right thing. But then...
So, when do you think he'll be back?
Back where?
To PCA.
Wait, you think now that I'm 5,000 miles away in England, I can just hop on a plane and come back?
Well, can't you?
God fucking damn it, Chase. Zoey just got to London. She made a life-altering choice because of you. She was emotionally wrecked about it because of you. And you, the reason she left, have the audacity to ask her when she's reversing that decision? For you? Did you learn fucking nothing? Obviously, Zoey can't. She's gone for good. So Chase's next move is to fill the Zoey-shaped hole in his heart with her doppelganger, Gretchen. And Gretchen is not well received by the rest of the gang. For good reason. She's bland. She's gross. Gretchen isn't just sensory horror in human form. She's also a bright neon sign pointed to Chase that screams, I am not over Zoey! We don't learn much about her aside from the grossness, but we don't need to. She's a prop who only exists to make Chase think he has some semblance of control. And practically everyone sees that he's inhaling copium. So much so that Logan and Michael confront him over it. Chase is still whiny and bitter, claiming, I'm over her and I don't think about her at all. Shit escalates, with the boys accidentally video calling Zoey in the process. You can probably guess how that goes.
You're right.
Everything you guys said is true.
We know you miss Zoey, man.
I don't just miss her. I'm in love with her.
I've been in love with Zoey ever since I met her.
finally. After 3 seasons, Zoey finally learns that Chase is in love with her. She's shocked. I mean, who wouldn't be after your supposed best friend who passive-aggressively encouraged you to move an ocean away is actually in love with you? So yeah, Zoey's done. She's left alone with her thoughts. And that's when season 3 ends. There's no conclusion, no emotional catharsis, just a heartbreaking cliffhanger. Now, that could have been the end of the saga. Zoey finally figures out Chase is in love with her, and season 4 starts with her acting accordingly. Maybe she changes her mind and tells Chase she's coming back to PCA so they can properly date. Maybe she moves on and forces Chase to grow the hell up. Maybe, just maybe, we get an actual conclusion to this saga. The great Zoey and Chase love story ends. For real. But you, dear viewer, do not know the true extent of Chase Matthews' bullshittery. Because in the season 4 premiere, Trading Places, guess what happens? Yes, Zoey does return to PCA. Yes, she gives up her London opportunity to reunite with her old friends, to make things right with Chase. And you're probably thinking, how the hell is Chase going to fuck this up? Zoey's back. He got what he wanted. Just make them kiss and light the fireworks already. Well, that's not going to happen. Do you know why? Chase is in England now! You heard that right, fuckers! Zoey traversed the ocean once again for Chase's sake. Meanwhile, Chase boards a plane to the same London school Zoey just left, without telling her or any of her friends having a chance to tell her. What the actual hell? So instead of a romantic reunion, Chase is a fucking idiot once again. He once again makes a move without thinking of the actual consequences. Here we are, suffering again, because no one in this show knows how to communicate. Sure, Zoey could have told Chase she decided to come back, but after all the shit he put her through, it shouldn't be on her to tell him. She already crossed the fucking ocean because of his passive-aggressive temper tantrum, and she's still willing to give him a fucking chance. And yes, the 2 video chat, they decided to give this long distance thing a shot, even though it didn't need to happen if Chase just fucking communicated, goddammit! But guess what? Long distance doesn't work! Shocker! Wow! Who knew a relationship with Chase Matthews wouldn't work because of his stupidity? Their video calls lag. The time zones are hell. They're constantly missing each other. The chemistry? Gone. Dead. Ghosted by the Wi-Fi signal. And the worst part? It didn't have to be this way. But nope! We have to be stuck in emotional limbo. Again! And the worst part? This plotline isn't even resolved until the series finale. In the interim, Zoey moves on. She dates a guy who actually treats her like a human being. She dates James Garrett, played by Austin Butler, who, despite only appeared in 8 episodes, is the only top-billed actor in Zoey 101 to actually have a career post-series. He listens to her. He supports her. He doesn't sulk every time she talks to another guy. He doesn't make her feel bad for existing outside his emotional field of vision. He's a normal guy, and their breakup in the series finale is mature. Zoey admits she can never fully reciprocate James's feelings, and guess what? He accepts that. He respects her honesty and lets her go. This contrast shows just how garbage Chase's behavior has been this whole series. James is a respectful man who wants to keep Zoey happy. Meanwhile, Chase, need I remind you, has written a personality quiz to get paired with Zoey for the school dance, hoping she doesn't notice. He fucks up so bad, Zoey herself calls him pathetic. Let Logan run a corrupt student body campaign in his name. Doesn't warn Zoey and acts like he's the good guy for offering to drop out. Stole Zoey's techmate to delete a text that accidentally confessed his feelings, then lied to her until he got caught. There is so much wrong with this, theft, gaslighting, the works, and he faces 0 consequences. Heard a rumor Zoey was leaving PCA and lashes out at her instead of asking her about it. He pushes her away, then acts like she abandoned him when she was just coming to him for advice. And when Michael finally pointed it out, the show still finds a way to frame Chase as the one who's hurting the most. Moved to England without telling Zoey to try and make things right with her. She had just crossed the ocean to be with him. He literally passed her midair, and yet somehow she is the one who's supposed to fix it? But of course, Chase is the romantic interest, so he needs to get the girl. He returns at the end of the series finale. He and Zoey finally get together. They make plans to spend the summer in Hawaii. Yay. The end. Until the sequel film Zoey 102 dropped in 2023, pulling a complete 180 and separating Chase and Zoey again for over a decade. Why? Well, I will concede that Zoey makes one bitchy move. One move that I can't justify even after she explains herself. And it's why Zoey and Chase aren't together by Zoey 102. Apparently, Zoey abandoned Chase during that Hawaii vacation they were gonna go on together. Like, she ghosted him completely, and they hadn't seen or spoken to each other since. That right there is a dick move. It's cold, selfish, and immature no matter what your reasoning is. Which, for the record, was, I was scared of things going right. And, like, I just can't, y'all. I don't have the heart to discuss the shit show that is Zoey 102. Chase continues to act like a whiny bitch, especially when he sees Zoey with her fake boyfriend. He confronts said fake boyfriend over karaoke. He takes advantage of a misunderstanding to act on his feelings for Zoey. Chase's own date to the wedding was even a facade to one-up Zoey. It's a mess. The film tries to rekindle the old spark, but it ends up highlighting the same toxic patterns that plague their relationship from the start. And I've already eviscerated one toxic relationship this year. Guess that makes it two now. I am so fucking tired.
Are you ready to explain now?
Years ago, I worked for a larger YouTube creator. I was his editor. At first, it felt like a dream gig. Someone I respected, trusted, and wanted to help.
Did you already know him?
Yeah, I was in his Discord server, and we were mutuals on Twitter. I made an edit to his profile picture that he used for a while. We were very friendly with each other, so yeah, I respected and trusted him. I thought he knew what he was doing. But it turned into something else.
What do you mean?
I was exploited, overworked, underappreciated. He encouraged a dynamic where I put his needs above my own health, my own boundaries. I practically saved his project, and he told me I had done, quote, a lot of great work. And then he kept delaying things, ignoring what I needed, leaving me to carry everything on my own. I didn't see it then, but it was never a healthy collaboration.
Did you ever tell him?
I kept him updated constantly. I laid everything out in DMs. I told him what I needed, when I needed it, why the delays were a problem. I even wrote him a letter at one point where I basically begged him to just send me the damn assets so I could finish. He told me I was doing a great job. He acknowledged that I saved the project. But nothing changed.
That sounds exhausting.
It was. I was anxious all the time. I had poured so much into the work and he just kept taking. And I didn't realize how exploitative it was until it all fell apart.
Tell me more.
I developed complicated feelings for him. It wasn't something I planned, and I definitely didn't want to act on it. But the dynamic he created, it blurred everything. I was exhausted, I was emotionally overextended, always bending myself to make things work. And at some point, I mistook that intensity for intimacy.
Did you ever tell him that?
I didn't mean to. As I said, I didn't want to act on it. I never wanted to act on it. But one night, I got drunk, like really drunk. And I sent a message I shouldn't have sent. I told him how I felt. It wasn't calculated or romantic. It was messy and embarrassing and came from a place of burnout more than anything.
What happened next?
He rejected me. The next day, I sent one follow-up message to clarify that I wasn't trying to cross a He he rejected me. The next day, I sent one follow-up message to clarify that I wasn't trying to cross the line, I didn't chase him, I didn't push, I let it go. But I did quit editing for him, sending him one last message calling him out for overworking me. And I talk about my experiences editing for him for a while. It was only when my experience got a lot of attention in 2023 that he flipped the narrative.
What do you mean?
When I later spoke publicly about how he mistreated me as a worker, not as a crush, but as an editor, he reframed the whole thing. He painted me as a crazy fan who was just bitter and heartbroken. He turned my labor into a punchline. My story became a smear campaign.
What do you want people to understand about that time?
I wasn't perfect, but I was honest. That I never tried to manipulate him. That I was a young, overworked girl trying to do something good for someone I admired, and I got used. I got flattened into a headline, into a stereotype, into someone people could laugh at.
And now?
Now I'm still here, still standing, still telling the story myself. Because if people are going to twist it again, they don't get to have the last word, I do. And as people have seen, I'll fucking do it again. And again. And again. Unfortunately, I will have to talk about Jamie Lynn Spears' actions. As I mentioned before, I feel they also contribute to the why people hate Zoey debate. Remember how I said at the beginning that Lola essentially becomes Nicole after season 2? That's because Nicole's actress, Alexa Nicholas, left the series because of how she was treated, especially by Dan Schneider and Jamie Lynn Spears. Alexa has spoken very publicly about her time on the show and how it was a toxic environment. She spoke of Jamie Lynn giving her the cold shoulder and making harsh comments.
From day one. The first day that I met her, I went up to her, I remember, and just being super excited. And I was a very bubbly young girl, like very talkative, a little bit like my character Nicole, definitely. Probably why I got the role. It wasn't hard for me to play her. And she was just very taken aback, escalated, where there was no interaction between her and I. She wouldn't even respond to me. She wouldn't even sit with us at lunch sometimes. I wasn't invited to go sit with them at lunch in her trailer. And it just started to snowball, basically. And then it became bullying, where she would just say harsh things, to me, like, why do you smile so much? Like this kid bully.
Right.
She spoke of being bullied on set and how the adults were dismissive of her complaints.
At first, I felt comfortable telling them that I felt uncomfortable on set and that there was bullying happening. But then they reminded me that I was on a set and that it wasn't Nicole 101 and that it was Zoey 101.
They said that too.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not Nicole 101.
Yeah. Oh, multiple times. Like multiple times.
Oh my gosh.
Multiple times.
And it wasn't just Jamie Lynn Spears. Did you notice how Dana mysteriously vanished after season 1? The official rumor is that the writers thought her actress, Kristen Herrera, looked too old to play the part. But according to Alexa, it was because Kristen was the biggest bully of them all.
They ended up getting rid of one of the girls on the show in the first season because of the bullying experience.
So she was doing this to other people as well?
Well, no, this girl was actually doing it with her to me.
And so why did she leave?
She got, they let her go.
Because she was so mean.
Yeah, it was.
Holy
It was
crap.
creating. She pushed me into a rock at one point in one of the episodes.
What the heck?
And yeah, it got it was just really bad. It sucks. Like, it was just not a good time, honestly. And so yeah, they ended up having to let her go, and that's when they hired Victoria Justice for the second season.
But the most infamous experience came during season 2. According to Alexa, she was told to go into a certain trailer because not only did Jamie Lynn want to talk, Britney Spears wanted to. Jamie Lynn's big sister, Alexa was optimistic that they could sort things out together. But Jamie Lynn told Brittany some things about Alexa that weren't true. Brittany's big sister instinct kicked in. It wasn't pretty.
And I remember I stepped in and Brittany comes beside me and locks the trailer door. And she just starts, I think she was like 8 months pregnant at the time. She was about me right now.
So you came in and then Brittany locked the door behind you?
Yeah.
That's pretty ominous.
And so I remember she just started yelling at me, telling me that I was bullying her sister. And I wanted to say something. And I just remember like literally feeling my throat, just close. I couldn't even speak. And I tried and I just started to cry and like hyperventilate. And she was like, I'm gonna make sure you don't work again. And
that's wild.
I was like, oh my God, Britney Spears hates me.
And when Dan Schneider found out what happened, guess what he did to try and buy her silence? A fucking DVD player. Not even a Blu-ray. Granted, Blu-rays didn't even exist yet, but a DVD player? Fucking seriously? Since then, Brittany has apologized to Alexa for her actions, privately and publicly. In the public apology, she explained that she was 9 months pregnant, hormonal, overwhelmed, and unaware of the full truth. Jamie Lynn had run to her, crying and claiming she was the one being bullied. Brittany believed her, and she recognized that was a mistake. Iconic, Brittany. Truly, truly iconic. But what about Jamie Lynn? Did she ever apologize to Alexa for her actions? Well, yes, but also no. According to Alexa, Jamie Lynn reached out when she was pregnant with her first child in 2020, wanting to reconnect. Well, she apologized for what she did. Alexa had good reason to believe her intentions were not entirely pure.
What was this apology like? Like, was it, like, how did you, because you got to judge if an apology is sincere. Like, was it a quick text? Hey girl, been thinking of you, sorry. Hope the baby's cute.
It was, the baby is cute for sure. But then it was also like an invitation to the music video. So you're like, oh, okay, so it's an apology to get me onto the music video, which the music video was a fake kind of reboot of Zoey 101 that she was orchestrating. And so when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, it wasn't Nickelodeon involved. Like, it wasn't really a network involved. It was her involved trying to make this reboot. So she was apologizing to me to get me into this reboot so that people felt like she was a cool person, basically. Like,
wait, which an apology followed by an ask or a request?
Correct.
Yep, she might have just wanted to get Alexa on board with a Zoey 101 reunion. Fucking hell. Now, I'm well aware of Alexa's own controversies. I'm aware of her alleged hypocrisy. Of wanting to take down predators while befriending people accused of predatory behavior. I'm aware of Alexa monetizing her own activism and making it into a business. But this behavior doesn't undermine the shit she went through while on Zoey 101. Bad people can still experience bad things. Those aren't mutually exclusive. This video isn't about Alexa though. If you want more information on her, I recommend you check out this video by Adam McIntyre. Alexa's reaction to it was to accuse him of bullying, so it clearly struck a nerve in her. But it does serve as a reminder of the impossible tightrope women are expected to walk, especially when they've been harmed but aren't seen as perfect victims. There's something cruel about how the internet treats women. If you show confidence, you're arrogant. If you show kindness, you're fake. If you call out another woman for her actions, you're a pick-me. And if you want to be two things at once, sharp and soft, generous and strategic, etc., you get misread entirely. It's like people don't want to understand women at all. They just want to sort them into little boxes for simplicity's sake. That's what happened to Zoey Brooks. She wasn't allowed to be complicated. Every moment of self-assertion got turned into a flaw. Her leadership became bossiness. Her mistakes became proof that she wasn't worthy of the spotlight in the first place. She was wrong for being the protagonist. And Jamie Lynn Spears' behavior on and off the Zoey 101 set justified this, retroactively seeming to confirm every complaint people had about Zoey. But as I said, Zoey Brooks is not Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn Spears is not Zoey Brooks. Zoey didn't write the scripts. She didn't choose how she was lit, styled, or directed. She was played by someone messy, yes, but she was crafted by men who needed her to be consumable. And when that consumption turned sour, it wasn't the writers who got blamed. It was her. She's a fictional character caught in a real-world backlash. A teenage girl written to be adored, then punished the moment her actress fucks up. I'm not defending Jamie Lynn Spears. What she did was horrific, but I think taking that anger out on Zoey is not the right thing to do. Jamie Lynn Spears deserves to be held accountable for the harm she caused, especially to Alexa and Nicholas. Zoey Brooks does not. Zoey is not real. Zoey is not responsible. Zoey did not bully anyone. She did not write the scripts that made Quinn the punchline or give Logan the last word. She didn't choose to be the face of a machine built by grown men for the consumption of children. She's fiction. Women, both fictional and in the real world, get punished not just for the harm they cause, but for what they represent. And Zoey? She represented every girl who dared to be liked while leading. She became a proxy for resenting Jamie Lynn Spears. That's not justice, that's a scapegoat. And I should know, I've been a scapegoat. When I told the truth about someone I worked with, people sought a story they could flatten. They wanted me to be hysterical, jealous, manipulative, and that's what my former boss gave them. Suddenly, I wasn't an editor, I was a crazy fan, and my labor, my exhaustion, it became a joke, a punchline, a warning. And people love to reduce women to warnings. I got harassed, mocked, painted as everything I wasn't, and for a while, I disappeared. But I came back. That's the thing no one warns you about reclamation. It's not just about telling the truth. It's about telling it when no one wants to hear it. Telling it over the noise, over the mockery, over the smear campaigns and the bad faith DMs. Telling it despite and because of those obstacles. That's what the Max and Kelly expose was. Not revenge, not delusion, not parasocial nonsense, but the audacity to tell a true story about power, complicity, and branding without softening the edges to make it palatable. Because unlike Zoey Brooks, Kelly PK is not a fictional character. She's not a teen girl written by men. She is a grown woman with agency, resources, and a verified platform. And she's used that platform to manipulate public perception, prop up harmful narratives, and shield herself from accountability while benefiting from it all. So before you call me a hypocrite in the comments, I don't think criticizing her is misogyny. I think failing to criticize her is cowardice. There's a difference between projecting hatred onto a teenage girl on a TV show and holding a powerful woman accountable for how she's played the game. A game where she's leveraged motherhood and relationship aesthetics as PR armor. A game where she does that while moving behind the scenes in ways that hurt people. Repeatedly. If people want to pretend it's cruel to name it, then let them. I've been called worse. I've been the girl people tried to discredit with tropes, the girl flattened into a headline, the girl mocked for daring to speak with clarity and edge. And I know what it's like to lose control of the narrative. That's why I tell these stories and reclaim them. And if people want to argue that calling Kelly out is anti-feminist, let me be clear. My feminism has never been about protecting the powerful. It's about protecting the girls who don't get believed. The ones who get rewritten as bitter, jealous, or hysterical for simply telling the truth. Zoey Brooks deserved compassion. Kelly PK deserves scrutiny. And I deserve to tell the difference. So maybe Zoey Brooks wasn't the devil in a pearlescent headband and a key necklace after all. Maybe, hear me out, she was just a teenage girl trying to lead, love, and survive group projects without losing her mind. Maybe the problem isn't that Zoey was too perfect or too bossy or too much. Maybe the problem is we've been conditioned to dissect every confident girl until all that's left is a cautionary tale. But Zoey, she was brave. She was flawed. She was emotionally available and willing to tell people when they were being idiots. That's not bland, that's not a Mary Sue, that's just relatable. So the next time you feel the urge to drag a fictional teenage girl for not being soft enough, quiet enough, likable enough, ask yourself who taught you to feel that way. And then ask yourself why you're still listening to them. Because Zoey Brooks didn't need to be torn down to prove a point. She needed what real girls still need, the right to be complicated. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Good night and goodbye.